Hello everybody, this is Stephanie from Shimmering Bodies. Welcome. I'm so happy to share this special tarot card reading with channeled messages with you. This is in honor of the full moon in Virgo happening later this week on Thursday, March 18th. I have selected several different decks as well as healing crystals. I have the Fairy deck by Radley Valentine, very high vibe, lots of positive messages. I have the Forest of Enchantment deck, which is Celtic stories from fairy tales, very beautiful deck, very magical. I have an animal deck. I have this Celestial deck, which is called the Starseed Oracle. Then I have some botanical decks. I have an essential oils deck as well as a flowers deck. I have a crystals deck and then also another fairy oracle deck. All right, and then I have some healing crystals. I selected mostly green crystals for heart healing. So just absorb the texture and shape and color from these crystals. As any of these crystals that speaks to you, you can just kind of take it in and allow a little virtual crystal healing. So the other stones that I chose are the clear quartz, which is great for psychic protection, as well as clarity, and it dispels negativity. And it's great for the crown chakra as well as the third eye. And then this is another third eye psychic protection stone, the amethyst. So you can take that in as well. As you take in this stone, just imagine your third eye being open to receive, your crown chakra being open to receive, and you can receive any of the messages that I have for you that make sense for you. So just relax and receive. This is a moment for you to receive a little bit of insight and healing. This message will be for you if you've been feeling like you've been going through a lot of emotional healing and maybe doing some shadow work. It could also relate to you if you feel like you just get this gut instinct, like everything's going to change soon in your life, or that you're at the beginning of a new chapter. It could also relate to you if you feel like you're really tapping into that spring energy where everything's blooming and you feel that somehow reflected within you. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll start with some channeled messages and then we'll move into the tarot card reading. So on the bigger picture, what we're looking at in general right now for the past few years, maybe longer, is essentially we're going into a new age. So we're going into the age of Aquarius, but we haven't entered it yet. According to my research, I think we don't get officially astrologically to the age of Aquarius in for another 50 years. But this is a very important time because it's the transition between ages. So, you know, throughout history, you had like the Renaissance period, the medieval period, the Dark Ages, the Enlightenment, all these different phases throughout history. And with each phase, there comes a mentality, comes with social codes, codes of conduct. It comes with a general group psychology of what's accepted and what's not accepted, what things become shadows and what things are allowed to, I guess, be in the light. And right now, we're going through the switching of all those things because we're about to evolve into a new era. And so the templates are all changing, the codes of conduct of what's accepted, what's not accepted, what lurks in the shadows, what is allowed to live and be celebrated in the light. Those things are all shifting and changing. So there's a lot of shift happening. And so my guides are telling me that we're at the dawn of the golden age, or the golden era. And the dawn means that we're already at the sunrise, because astrologically speaking, you feel, like we're already feeling the effects of the full moon, even though technically it doesn't happen until Thursday. So we feel it before, then we feel it very strongly during, and then we feel the after effects, and then the shifts that occur afterwards, and the integrations and things like that occur afterwards. And so right now, in the grand scheme of time, right, if you look at the whole timeline of everything, 50 years actually isn't that much time. And so we're at the dawn, which is like that moment where the sun first starts to come up. So when the sun first starts to come up, it's infusing everything across the land with light, and reducing the nighttime and reducing the shadows. So that's kind of what's happening as far as like the bigger picture of being on this precipice of the dawn of the golden age. And what it is essentially is an up-leveling and a mass awakening of a lot of people on the planet. So there's just a massive spiritual awakening happening for a lot of people, and the events that we've been through in the past few years, whether they're planned or not planned, they have been for this transition and have served a purpose. All right, so then drilling down into like what specifically is happening right in this moment, this week, is that we're gonna have a full moon in Virgo, and we're in Pisces season. So we're in the season of the fish. And then we are also going to be at the spring equinox very soon. So I believe that's going to be on the 21st of March. And in the US, yesterday our time changed. So now we have longer days and shorter nights. And so obviously with this is the energy of spring, which is a new beginning. But even deeper than the energy of spring, or in addition to the energy of spring, there's also just a feeling of a new chapter starting. And I'm getting a sense of needing time to feel the loss of what has come to pass, because there's no going backwards. So it's a sense of loss for that which we don't have anymore. You're not really at the new chapter quite yet, although you're starting to feel that spring energy bubbling up from within, the excitement of, change, the excitement of activity happening. But we're not quite there yet either. And so it's this space in between those two things. So it reminds me of the liminal space that exists when you go through transitions. So what the shamans do is they go into the dreamtime continuum and they straddle liminal space, which is the space that exists in between things. And in that space, they do usually a trance ritual, and then they get disoriented. They disorient themselves through, taking plant medicine or whatever. And then that disorientation disrupts the cycle so that they can conceive of a new way of being, or bring healing to a certain person or to themselves. So really that liminal space is about being tossed into a state of disorientation where things don't entirely make sense. And then there's needed time for healing, and time for reflection, and time for a deep reorganization to start to happen. And then what happens is we reorient into new directions and towards new things. And so it's a lot of deep trust when you go through a healing process like this, of trusting that what's yours is coming to you, and trusting that it's all going to turn out better than it was, because things are getting better every day. And if you look at your whole life, it has usually an upswing where things are getting better. If you look at the big picture, generally people don't move backwards unless they're going into cycles of self-sabotage, addiction, abuse, things like that. And that they're choosing that And in a way, sometimes, as they say, people need to hit rock bottom before they can come back up. So yes, so it's a new beginning. It's got that spring energy. The other day I thought I saw a snake by my foot, and I was thinking about the Kundalini energy, and I think we're going through a Kundalini awakening, which has to do globally, just for everybody. There's kind of like a Kundalini awakening happening between the balance between the masculine and feminine. There's also a balance between the heart energies and the heart chakra and the sacral chakra and the sexual energies. So it's a balancing of masculine and feminine. It's a balancing of sacral and heart. It's a upward motion of almost feeling like a orgasmic kind of cascading through the nervous system, moving upwards. And that's kind of what this energy surge that's happening this week feels like. But in order for that Kundalini to rise and to have that clear path, we have to go through some releasing of emotions. And so because we're getting into this full moon, and because we're in Pisces season, Pisces is so deep and so psychically attuned and so connected to the collective unconscious. And so what we're feeling into right now, we're feeling our way, and what we're feeling into is what on an emotional level from the heart chakra and the sacral chakras that we need to release in order to move forward. So that full moon is helping us. Right now we're supported by the universe to really release those energies of those heavier emotional baggage, essentially. So this is where the shadow work element comes in. And so as we are allowing more of that feminine energy in, more of that yin allowance and holding space and nurturing and just being in the mystery of creation, as we're holding that kind of beautiful potential for the new space. So what's going to come in and fill into the void. As we hold that space, we are releasing because that space is full of darkness and mystery. So we're releasing out of this yin place the shadow and things that come from like our deep ancestral past or family past, personal past. It could even go back, because we're in Pisces season. Pisces relates to past lives, so it could even go back to past lives. And the Virgo aspect is that we're releasing these things so that we can get grounded, because it's an earth sign. We're releasing these things so that we can get, in releasing, it is in effect grounding us into our new reality. Virgo is the virgin, so it's all about just like that purity. So it's this pure new beginning that we're at the precipice of. All right, so we can get more into the details of that. That is the basic of the channeled messages. So we're going to go into the tarot card reading next. Okay, so we're going to start with the fairy deck. So I just want to get some sort of like foundational energies for this shifting timeline that we're in right now. So let me be more specific. I want to tap into this new beginning and see what this new chapter is about. Okay, that feels better for me. Cards feel very, very sleepy, like kind of thick and heavy. Wow. Okay, so I'll take the one that flipped over, which is the 5 of Summer. I'll take the next card that flew out, which is the World. I love these cards because the messages are always so positive and uplifting. Yeah, I'm getting like a lot of blues and greens. I'll just take this card, the Star. Let me get one more. I do feel like I should get one more. All right, 8 of Winter. Okay, so sort of getting a baseline on these cards here is I'm just going to read mostly the energy off them. So just going to study them for a moment and kind of see what's coming through. The Star card has a lot of energy coming off of it. So does the World. Those two are the major arcana cards, so they're a little bit more probably universal for everybody of what everybody's going through right now, which is the Star card is about healing, and it's about that, like wishing on a star. Feel like a lot of sparkling energy, like shimmering sparkling energy coming into the emotional body, a lot of healing of the emotional body. Sort of like by cleansing the emotional body, we're becoming lighter energetically. And that's going to be what we need to do to make the passage into this new era or this new time. So yeah, so we might be feeling a lot of feelings right now, especially a lot of heavy feelings, maybe sadness, loss, depression, even self-criticism, self-judgment, judgment and criticism of others, sadness, heaviness. It could just feel like heaviness. Could feel like exhaustion and weighted. And by feeling these things, and so I picked this, it's a magnifying glass. It's actually made so that you can look at little jewels in your watch and in rings and things like that. It came with a watch, but I use it to read small print, and it magnifies things. And so I don't know if you can see how it can magnify things. You can get it, you can zero in on like little details and things like that. So I feel like that is what we're going through right now, is sort of like that thing that you do on the phone where you make something bigger. It's looking into the shadow. I get a lot of shadow energy off of this 8 of Winter card. So this card is like sort of about being caught up in your head and having a lack of confidence and not being in your own power, not knowing. It's almost like you don't know the ways in which you're radiant. And you also don't acknowledge the ways in which you're radiant. So with the looking glass, it's about looking into these shadow aspects, behaviors, negative thoughts, feelings, actions, and being able to zoom in and trace back the origin story of where these things came from. And if you go back and you don't find the origin, just feel into it and do some deep listening for a few days, and the answer will come to you. So it's about illuminating the shadow through the process of scrutiny. So it's kind of like a twofold message, because there's like a negative aspect to judging and criticizing yourself, but then there's also a positive aspect to being able to zoom into your life and look with a magnifying glass without judgment, but to use that critical eye without being critical of yourself, to look at, why am I doing this? When somebody does this, it triggers me, and then I do that. And why do I keep attracting this type of person into my life? Or why am I always doing this thing? Why do I fall back onto certain addictions, whether it's food or alcohol, drugs, sex, even negativity can be an addiction, being addicted to being sad or being stuck in negative loops in your head. So those are all patterns, and as I was mentioning, going into the golden era, we are releasing these patterns to create new patterns. So it's that scrutiny that's involved with going very deep into the shadow to look and self-reflect on your own patterns and illuminate them and shine light on them, so that you can choose new pathways moving forward. So it's like, what are the possibilities for choosing new pathways? And so that's the star. And I've been having so many disturbances with trying to do this reading. It's ridiculous. Okay, so let me look at these other cards here. She's in the dark. She's running. She's about to like move forward. So it's like kind of that impetus to react rather than respond, because of some emotional history that you have. So yeah, looking at maybe some fears that cause you to have automatic behaviors. And then the world is like a new cycle that's starting. So it's like ending one cycle and starting a new cycle. There's lots of flowers here, so it's very spring-like. She's kind of bursting forth. This is kind of the energy that I'm feeling that's going to kick off this week. And these other cards, it's sort of like if I could almost like reorganize them a little bit. Maybe to this. That's maybe what I'm feeling, which is sort of like the baseline energy of what's happening this week is that we're being throttled and moved forward. We're looking at the emotions and emotional states and how we react instead of respond, fine-tuning our behavior patterns, overcoming our inability to recognize our own magnificence and feeling silly for doing that, being stuck in negative patterns, like negative thinking patterns, being stuck in ways in which you believe negative things about yourself and give your power over to other people, ways in which we lack self-esteem, sort of like dealing with, I feel like this is connected to the Strength card. I wouldn't be surprised if the Strength card were to come up. And then the Star is also just this bursting forth after all this healing of this shimmering energy. Once you release these heavy things, that then we become lighter and our light bodies begin to become effervescent and be able to, lead us into a new dimension of lighter, the new dimension where things are lighter. Okay, so now we're going to use these Enchanted Forest cards to clarify. My phone I'm recording on my phone and it keeps giving me interference and it's so distracting. So I have to keep recentering myself. So I feel like there's a message in that of just feeling like we're on a very curvy path right now where things aren't going from point A to point B, or maybe if they are, they seem very squirrely. So it's very like, oh, I'm getting lost over here and then I have to reorient and come back here. And then I'm getting lost and carried away and then I'm kind of reorienting, but maybe I find like a new point of reorientation. I also feel like there's a lot of darker energies that are trying to prevent this big, massive awakening and upticking and glow up in the energy just collectively. So I feel like there's, you know, the Dark Lords are watching over us and they're coming to, yeah, basically interrupt, but in unwelcome ways. I'm just trying to think if I'm going to take these cards. I guess I will. Definitely this card. So the 9 of Visions. So this card is like a coin being tossed into a wishing well. So I feel like I'm doing this differently than I've ever done it before, but for some reason I just feel guided to do this. But I feel like this goes with the Star card. And this is the Weaver of Spells. Whoa, that's really beautiful. So pretty. I also feel like she goes with the, no, she might go with a world. No, she goes with a star. Okay, and then we have the Weaver of Challenges. This is like the Queen of Swords, so I'm going to put her with this 8 of Winter over here. So let me just create like a little thing here. I guess I'll get all the cards and then read them. Yeah, I'm feeling like a really beautiful, soft, allowing energy. The fairy wind. Little fairies flying. I'll put this with this one because she's a flying fairy also. I don't know why I'm organizing the cards this way. It just feels right now. 4 of Visions. That one either goes here or here. I can't decide yet. Let's see what else comes up. Ooh. I'll take the bottom one, which is the 2 of Boons. I think this one can go over here. So I just need like 2 more cards for clarification and then guide me where to put them. 2 more cards for clarification. So this is the 2 of Spells. I'm gonna put that with this for some reason. And all right, so I just need 1 more card. The more I think about this card, the more I kind of feel like it goes there. Okay, so then this is our last card, which is the Keeper of Boons. Okay, so let's just look at these groupings one at a time. So we have the World with the 2 of Boons and the Keeper of Boons. So the Boons are like the pentacles, and I love that there's so much green in the card. And it has this energy of positivity and happiness. And oh, this is cool. There's like a little creature here at the bottom of the bridge. I feel like these are the dark forces that are trying to interrupt us. And we're just like, no, you're not getting me. Not today. So this guy is walking across the bridge. This is like 2 of Pentacles. So he's sort of reminding me of, you know, the work that needs to be done on the path that we're taking. And so for this new beginning, I'm first getting that it's going to come with spiritual work. And if you are doing the work to work on yourself and to self-reflect and to not give lip service to that, but to really do it, then I feel like this could be you, which is like the King of Pentacles. So everybody loves the King of Pentacles. He's a jolly guy who helps everybody out in their time of need. He's like that rock, that family member that's the rock who you can come to. Maybe they lend you a little bit of money, or they give you like a place to stay. They feed you, they nurture you. You know, they automatically, like, animals are just attracted to them, and they've done well for themselves, but they've done well for themselves because they've done the work in a physical way. So I feel like there's a new beginning starting, and it's going to include a lot of work, and that you might need to go and seek the advice or help of like a mentor or somebody that's in a position that can give you advice or guide you to where you need to go, but then also that you can transform into this King of Pentacles and be that person for other people. So it's really beautiful. It's about being a leader, doing the work necessary on your part to then be able to take that into leadership. So I'm getting a lot of leadership vibes off that. Then the next message, this was sort of like a watery feeling of being connected into the heart space and looking at ways in which we just jump to reacting to things instead of responding. And I'm just going to switch this way because that makes sense to me for some reason right now. But the story from this card is it's a boy and he's got that wand, but this is his first day where he got the wand from magic school. And so he's gone out into the forest with his friends, and they're horsing around, and he starts to turn his friends into frogs, and he doesn't know how to turn them back. And then this like argument ensues because he doesn't realize that he's kind of playing with fire. So this is kind of like a lot of different messages in that. One is about inner conflict, because this is the Five of Wands in the traditional deck. So, and I get this card has some inner conflict to it. But I think it's also like ownership of the inner conflict to move past it. This card is definitely speaking to me about kind of the fight-flight response, where these fairies just see something and they bolt. And I think the story of this card is that it's very difficult to see a fairy because they can move like lightning fast. And so if you ever see a fairy, it spooks it and it flies away really quickly. So this is about just slowing down and taking the time needed to learn how to, I'm just going to say that the wand is like your emotions, learning how to control your emotions, learning how to transform your emotions, learning how to not be reactive to your emotions like these cards, but be responsive. Yeah, so a lot of emotional healing coming off that card. This card is very wintry because it's the 8 of winter and there's snow on the ground here. And then she's also in snow. So the Weaver of Challenges is like the Queen of Swords. And so it's a woman who is in the forest, and she's a no-nonsense kind of person. And she does not put up with anything from anybody. And she's very discerning, and she just looks at things how they are. So I feel like this kind of relates to these cards because it's going to go linear, moving from the first set to the second set to the third set. And so this is like, you know, maybe that's what it takes to get into your emotions at times, is to detach from them. So once you start to feel them and feel into it, then detach from them and ask, where are they coming from? What's the best way to move forward? And then to not get caught up in the negative loops of thinking. And I feel like this card also is a card of sadness. I mean, he's just sitting there. He looks very sad. And he's next to the water too, so it's also a very emotional card. I think that's the Four of Cups. So it's sort of like indecision and not knowing what to do and not knowing which is the right pathway for you. I did feel like in general right now, this is the split into the liminal space is about being caught in between two things. Like maybe you're living here, but you want to move there. Or maybe you're with this person, but you want to be with that person. Maybe you have this career thing going on, but you want to shift and do this other career thing. It's this time of shifting between two worlds where you're in a current reality, excuse me, but you want to get into a new reality. And in that, there's kind of like a choice between things. And I feel like you're not really sure what is the right choice, but I'm getting the message that trust and time will reveal to you. And to, of course, go into the heart space and analyze with your head, but also in the heart space, just really feeling things on an emotional level. All right, and then the Star we talked about, which is a deeply healing card. So going through a healing process, but also going through a process of envisioning and dreaming about your future. This is literally a wishing well. So it's making your wish, tossing the coin in. It's like wishes fulfilled. Oh, and there's little fish on these cards, which is very Pisces. So maybe, yeah, because this is also like the weaver of spells. So it makes me feel like she's creating her reality. She's weaving it. This is kind of like a very, fiery, shimmery, fiery energy. These cards all have like a very shimmery energy, which is glowing and glistening. And this is so much about this new energy coming in. I don't know if you can feel that. I'm trying to just sense into it, but it's like, yeah, it's like the sun dancing across water, or that shimmer that glitter has, or it feels like bubbles, like champagne bubbles, something rising up. It's very positive. I feel like it's very positive. So let's put these over here. Okay, so let me do some animal cards next. Okay, so these will be like insights to where you're at now and what you're feeling. And I want to use these as well. So we're going to do two different decks. So we'll do that one second. So we'll do this one first. So this is basically just going to be like where you're at on an emotional level, and what the animal wisdom is to move you forward. So this will talk to your states of being right now, and the animal wisdom of how to embody a different state of being to move forward. Animals are great teachers. I was just with my friend walking his dog yesterday, and dogs, they know their limits. When they're hungry, when they're tired, when they need to rest. They know when they have to go to the bathroom. They also teach us about loyalty. I'm gonna take these. These are two. Okay, so we got sea serpent, which is like this all-knowing eye in it, umbumbros, or whatever that's called, ubrobos. And then a crow. Actually, that's interesting that we got those two together, and I'll tell you why in a minute. I'll just lay these out. Let me get a few more. So the crow is about cosmic justice. So he calls the shots as he sees them. And in this deck, he's on top of a ball, which is almost like the world. So he sees everything, basically. And it's funny because the sea serpent is also an eye. We got horse. That's probably for my sister. She definitely has a lot of wild horse energy. And the sea serpent is like that thing that's like very ancient in us all. It's like that ancestral past, those folklore of a sea serpent existing and the dangers of the Loch Ness and things like that. All right, so we got a raccoon. It's very shadowy. And then I got a nightingale. That's a really pretty card. I feel like I want to get one more. And a cobra. Okay. Can you see the cobra down there? Bring this over here. Okay. And let me get also some of these cards. So these are fairy oracle cards. So these are just kind of fairy people. And this is going to be the same kind of messages, just a different deck from what you're feeling now and what the fairy wisdom can maybe share with you about how to move forward. So what you're passing through right now and how to move forward. These cards are kind of hard to shuffle. They're very awkward. I'm just going to wait until one speaks to me. Get like a few of these. So we got gatekeeper, time shifts, dimensional slips. So that's exactly what I was thinking about, is the liminal space between things allows you to make interdimensional shifts into new timelines. Acorns, invitation, touch, exchange, connection. A lot of sensual energy coming off that card. A lot of magnetism and attraction. Just do one more. The keeper of secrets. Use your discernment, confide in a trusted friend, keep silent about knowledge. Okay, so messages from these cards. Well, there's this bird energy. So birds have the ability to fly above things and look down. So it's about getting a new perspective, looking at the bird's eye view. Also, the crow is about cosmic law, as I mentioned. So what he does is I think he looks with one eye and the other eye he turns inwards to look at himself. And then this is literally like a big eye. And this is a mythical creature. I mean, it could be real, who knows, but it's mostly a mythical creature. As you know, most of us have seen a crow or a horse or a raccoon, but I don't think many people have seen a sea serpent. Even the people who go looking for them can't really, they're very elusive if they exist. But this talks to me about just like that ancient part of us, because there's that Ubrobos or whatever it's called, where the snake eats its own tail. And that's a very ancient symbol. And I had talked about the snake earlier, actually. So there is something about that Kundalini awakening from those ancient parts of ourselves that are in our ancestry to help us unlock like the DNA codes for the new era, so that we can get these light transmissions and open up to receive the uploads, downloads, receive the downloads, give the uploads to the universe, so that we can all synchronize with one another and move the collective conscience forward. So maybe this is like the collective conscience or something. And then horse is about being wild and free. Horses are also very healing. They have equine therapy, I believe is what it's called, where people go and hang out with the horses, and it's a very like healing experience. So I feel like this is got like a little moon symbol. So I feel like going deep into the emotional body and setting yourself free from the past so that you can roam wild and free. And then the raccoon is a little rascal. He's a nocturnal animal. And I guess they're sort of scary until you see one, and then they're kind of cute. So I'm thinking about the shadow with that card. I'm not really getting a lot off of it other than just entering some unknown. I'm seeing just kind of like this motion of going deep and down, like a deep dive. That's what I'm getting, like deep dive into the shadow, deep dive into the night, explore. Okay, that's what it is. Raccoon explores at nighttime. So maybe exploring into your shadows, exploring into the unknown corners and getting into the mystery of you, and trying to just without judgment explore those sides of yourself that maybe you have been fearful of in the past. And the nightingale also, I mean, night is part of the name of the animal, right? So so that must be another nighttime bird. I don't know much about the nightingale, but I know they sing. So maybe the raccoon and the nightingale maybe go together and to explore those darker aspects of yourself, or the parts of yourself where you have been maybe in the past fearful. And I'm seeing someone like sing, like artistic expression can be very healing. So maybe you can sing or draw or dance or tell a story or do a little filming project. I feel like even doing tarot card readings is creative. Selecting the stones, gardening, so anything that you find is creative for you, journaling. And then the cobra is also like that snake energy that I was talking about, of the Kundalini rising, and it's got like a lot of energy to it, this card, because of all the bright reds and pinks and oranges. Cobras are very intimidating. So maybe don't be intimidated. Don't be afraid. I'm getting the message. Don't be afraid. Okay, so in these cards, like I said, the gatekeeper is about time shifts, dimensional slips. So we're straddling two different realms, and to be in that in-between space, you need to access the fairy door, because the fairy door goes from this world into the fairy world. This is also another wintry card, which kind of fell right underneath these other wintry cards. So there's something about being cold, and I'm getting like a numb feeling from that. Like maybe in some ways you've been numb for a long time, and you're starting to awaken to ways that you need to hold your boundaries so that people don't pass over them, so that you don't have to overwhelm your system into a state of numbness, but you can take things as they make sense for you. And then Acorn's Invitation, like I said, it's a very sensual card. It says touch, exchange, connections. Got a guy, this cute little fairy guy with his shirt off, dancing at the club. Yeah, I'm seeing like somebody just getting in touch with pleasure and with the pleasure to connect with other people and to have that real in-person, eye-to-eye connection. I feel like there's a lot of magic in this card, like to be open to experiencing magic in the world around you and in the people around you too. So yeah, there's a message in here about maybe people from our lives have exited, and now we have like these new boundaries, and then these new people that we really vibe with are going to start to come in if they haven't already. And it's going to be almost like this magnetism, like, ooh, who are you? I want to know more about you. I'm so curious. Let's get together and do something playful and be creative and express ourselves. There's also a need to just be primal and interconnect with one another and dance and touch. You know, massage is so healing, and when I do body work with people, I realize how much people are in need of being touched. All right, and then the last of these cards is the Keeper of Secrets. Getting sort of like inner child healing off of this card. So she has this blanket or this scarf, and it's kind of like around her, and she's holding, looks like she's holding a key, and there's butterflies. So what I'm getting from this is like inner child wounding, but also inner child healing and creating new boundaries and learning how to nurture and mother yourself and embracing into that yin energy. So there's kind of like some yin and yang energy happening in these cards down here. So again, it's like that balancing. There's a lot of energetic balancing happening right now. All right, so let's look at some wisdom and guidance from Spirit. What's going on the bigger picture that we can, anything that's going to help us traverse releasing these emotions, doing this shadow work, and getting to the point where we can reap the benefits of the supported, bursting, bubbling, champagne-like energy that's coming in. How are we going to magnify that for ourselves? What practices should we have? Okay, so you got the love, Hadarian energy, codependency, boundaries. So we were just talking about boundaries and people coming in and out of your life. So this is saying to move forward. One of the ways the universe is guiding us is to be careful about the people that you put yourself around, because of course when you put yourself around people who are toxic, then next message is child of the cosmos. The intelligence of the universe lies within you. It's about knowing that you're bigger than just your physical body, and that we all come from Source, and knowing that as we are part of Source, Source is part of us, and so the universe is within us. So it's like remembering that magic that you have within you. And also rising above things, to look, sometimes if you look at things through a spiritual lens, it seems a little less difficult. It's hard because we have to straddle the worlds of the spiritual and the physical. Okay, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take these three. So deep cellular healing, Arcturus energy, physical and emotional healing. So yeah, so we're being changed on a cellular level. There's also an archway there, so it's like going through a portal. So we're going through and into a different phase, into a different era, into a new chapter. The courageous peony, multifaceted, unique nature, let yourself be seen. So that's just about unabashedly being yourself and allowing yourself to bloom like a flower. And then we got the jump in card. I love this. I've gotten this one before. It says Andromedan energy, adventure, say yes to change. So it's a person who's, I don't know if you can see it, but the feet are diving into the center of the eye of the cosmos. So this is just about being willing to be on that new journey and move towards your vision and your dream, and not being afraid to take a leap, to take a chance. I feel like I just want to get this one last card, which is surrender to the sweetness, Venus energy, pleasure, joy, make love to life. I feel like that connects with this acorn invitation card, which is about finding pleasure in things. So, you know, if things are torture all the time, it's no fun, but you can find pleasure in our day-to-day existence, really take the moments to savor the sweet things. Let's get a couple crystal cards. Ruby wanted to come out. Vital force flows vibrantly through me. I'm grateful for my energetic passion for life. Redstone, it says improve physical strength and vitality, increase endurance and passion, activate productivity and self-motivation, increase enthusiasm and overall feelings of well-being. So I feel like from this is about like doing exercise and getting your heart rate going, and just feeling the things that give you passion and energy, and just connecting into that. So like when you're feeling down and you're feeling negative and you're feeling low, or you feel heavy, just to get out, go for a walk, be in nature, do some exercise, get into a mode of like revitalizing your passions. Fluorite, I am smart. I am open to learning something new. I am organized. It's a beautiful green stone with some purple in it. Clear thinking, release mind chatter, maintain courage and self-confidence. Recognize your own intelligence, ease with problem solving. So this is about, first of all, it's being open to new things. And it's also about self-confidence. Clarity. It's also got that green in there, so it's the heart stone color. Let's take one more of these. I feel like this one wants to come out. Watermelon tourmaline. My heart is open to giving and receiving love. I transform the world around me by focusing on divine love. Open your heart to love, feel unconditional love and support, bridge the spiritual connection between heaven and earth, and increase romance. So I was saying that to bridge the connection between the spiritual and the physical, and I feel like this goes with the acorn's invitation and the surrender to sweetness in that increased romance energy. I'm gonna put this here. All right, so we'll do some essential oil cards because they're beautiful to look at. So the first two cards we got are Spearmint, revitalize and refresh the spirit. Orange, elevate and invigorate. Citrus is really great for lifting the spirits, so you can take a bath. And the other day I took a nice bath and I did a eucalyptus and lime mixed together, and it was very decadent. So if you have like bergamot or orange or lime or lemon oil, you can put that in the bath and it sort of lifts your spirit. Jasmine attracts desire and spiritual love. I just planted a jasmine in my yard. They smell divine. I got a pink jasmine. They're so beautiful. And I love this attracts desire and spiritual love because it's sort of reminding me of the devotion that we have to our, our beloved, as Rumi would say, but also the devotion to yourself, to worship yourself as a source of high divine, of divinity. So like sort of like that indwelling God within us. I'm just free flowing with like random messages that are coming through me right now. So just get like a couple more of these. So we got Cassia provides courage and strength. So yeah, I was talking about the strength card earlier, which I didn't pull enough tarot for the strength card to come out, but that's a card that gives me a lot of like strength, the energy of inner strength and fortitude to make it through this like long haul that we're going through. Cinnamon protects and regulates, so there's an energy in there for protection, which we need, because for every time you're trying to up level, there's dark forces trying to keep you down. So there's some underlying dark forces. We all know who they are, and some of them we don't know who they are. And yeah, so anytime we try to move up spiritually and ascend spiritually, there's going to be darker forces that try to bring us back down. All right, so we got frankincense, build transcendent awareness. So yeah, so I think that's it for those cards. And then to end, I'll just do a botanical card or two. In the essential oil cards, I'm getting a lot of really beautiful energy around self-growth, self-healing, protection, boundaries, clarification, cleansing, also connecting to spirit and being in a devotional practice to the divine. Sweet William. It says, Sweet William small has form and aspect bright, like that sweet flower that yields great Jove delight. Okay, so it's a poem. Sweet William Small has form and aspect bright, like that sweet flower that yields great Jove delight. The spirit guides love poetry and art and music, so I feel like there's a message in there about like writing poetry or expressing yourself creatively. Ah! All right, so we got Bellflower, which is a gratitude. Gratitude makes sense of our past, brings peace for today, and creates a vision for tomorrow. So I was going to say earlier that one of the things we can do is form a practice of gratitude where you just every day make a list of the things that you're grateful for. You can do it in the morning and at nighttime, and it sort of puts you into an abundance mindset rather than a mindset of lack. So I know everybody knows that, but just a reminder, you know, we all need reminders. Let's get a couple more of these because I'm really enjoying these images and messages. So Camellia, destiny. It's not in the stars to hold our destiny, but in ourselves. William Shakespeare. Yeah, so that's about free will. You always have the free will to do what you need to do in any situation. So if if it's all too much for you, you can say, stop. I need to stop this constant, whatever, change, constant work, constant shifting, and take moments of silence for yourself. And, the free will just to create your own reality to some extent. That's why there's destiny versus fate. So there's the fated thing where it's going to happen no matter what. And then there's destiny where it's like you're destined for it, but you have the free will to change it. Okay, two more and then that's it. All right, so Amaryllis, determination and creative achievement. You can't use up creativity. The more you use, the more you have, Maya Angelou. That's pretty. Yeah, so it's about like transforming energy into creativity and finding creative expression. I feel like these flowers, because they're blooming and they're all in like different shapes and sizes, it's sort of like there's so many different flavors to life. You can really be this flower, that flower, this flower, that flower, and bloom in your own time and show your own beauty in the ways that feels good for you. And you can radiate a certain vibration, which is a certain color, a certain shape, and you can express yourself in a variety of different ways. Okay, last message is tuberose. Dangerous pleasure. The secret of reaping the greatest fruitfulness and the greatest enjoyment from life is to live dangerously. Friedrich Nietzsche. So what does that say? That's saying that the secret of reaping the greatest fruitfulness and the greatest enjoyment from life is to live dangerously. So I feel like this is taking a chance. You know, don't play it safe. Put yourself out on a limb. You know, choose from the heart and just go for it. So I would say, just wrapping up the whole reading, is that there's a lot of really beautiful things coming into the future. It's going to require a continued pacing of ourselves through multiple layers of different types of spiritual work that needs to happen, but that you have the free will to take it at your own pace and slow things down and take a pause and to find enjoyment and pleasure, so that it's not all about trauma and healing and going through shadows, but that you find moments of lightness, moments of personal expression, moments of creativity, moments of love and connection, so that all kind of balances it out. Sounds like life, right? All right, well, thank you for joining me today. I hope you have a wonderful full moon on Thursday. And if you've liked this video, please feel free to subscribe to my channel. That helps me get into the algorithm so that other people that are interested in tarot card readings and channeled messages can see my reading. All right, thank you so much and have a great day.